Welcome to Dig It, a real estate podcast by Hubbell Realty Company. Hello, everyone. We're back with an episode of Dig It, a real estate podcast by Hubbell Realty Company. And joining me today is our good friends from Icon Water Trails, Monica Converse. How are you?
I'm great. How are you this morning?
Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, making sure.
Yep.
Making sure on this fine morning. I know you might be listening in the morning, you might be listening at night, but it's morning in our world, and I am fueled by coffee today. Yes. Well, thanks for coming on here and joining us to talk about all things Icon.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I know a lot of people might have heard about it. They should. If they haven't, you're hiding under a rock somewhere, because this is one of what, quote, the most transformational projects of our generation. Tell us a little bit about Icon and, you know, what you do in your role.
Sure. Well, Icon, for those that are not aware, we're a nonprofit entity that are working to activate the waters throughout central Iowa. So we're trying to ultimately connect people, water, and communities together, and just, improve opportunities for them to get outside, whether it's paddling, fishing, tubing, maybe rafting someday. And right now, our current vision is to connect over 150 miles of waterways in central Iowa. Hopefully, maybe that'll grow to be even more down the road. But yeah, trying to really connect the region through water.
Well, and I got started with Icon Water Trails back when it was, the Greenways master plan.
Very early days.
Very early. So it was,
and then Central Iowa Water Trails for a while.
Yep. And then it's transitioned over to Iowa Confluence Water Trails, Icon for short.
Yep.
Which I think has been a really awesome progression. Hubbell has been a really big supporter of this project because of its numerous, goals and mission. Can you go into that just a little bit as far as, what Icon is really driving to do? It's not just about recreation, right?
Right. Yeah, no, Icon has 5 main pillars of things that we focus on. It's safety is number one. We know that the dams in downtown Des Moines pose a safety hazard. There's a lot of unsafe ways of accessing our water trails right now. So safety is of utmost importance.
Bring your mic closer. I want to make sure everyone.
Okay.
There you
Sorry
go.
about that.
I know. Nope. Get right in there. It's one of those things where it's like, you might as well just give it a
little kiss. There we go. Economic development is another huge piece of it. So we're hoping if you build it, they will come kind of scenario, right?
Yeah, very much so.
Attracting and retaining workforce, I think that's a key thing too, and that's why you've seen such a huge investment from the private sector in our projects. We know that Iowa is not a growing state. We're trying to attract and retain workforce, and make people want to stay here in central Iowa.
Yeah.
Recreation is obviously another one. We want to improve recreation opportunities, and then environmental conservation is at the core as well. So.
Yeah, and we'll touch on a little bit of all of those today, I'm sure, as we just kind of talk about the project as a whole. But 150 miles of water trails, 80 plus sites. So what does that really mean if we're breaking it down for people? Because I think a lot of Iowans grew up maybe creek stomping or, going fishing in ponds and what have you. But this is a little bit different. This kind of is looking to, again, break down the barriers, making everything easily accessible, but also a little bit safer to recreate in. So can you go into just some of the sites and how far they span across central Iowa?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I think a lot of times when people think of Icon, they think of the downtown projects, and we'll get into those more soon.
Yeah, but those are the flashy, the ones that have maybe some of more of those bells and whistles.
Right, exactly. But I think people need to remember that we are also just, there's going to be a little bit of something for everyone here within our water trails projects. Currently, we have 16 active recreation sites. We just had a new one open up at the West Des Moines, and Polk County Conservation opened a new one at the 63rd and Street Bridge. So that just opened this year. But it's basically we have a little bit of something for everyone. So whether you want to just get it in splash and play, there's an access point like over in Bondurant, one of our partner communities, where you can do that. They have Mud Creek running through there, just an opportunity for kids to get in and, play in the water, maybe see what kind of
best and get muddy and messy.
Get muddy, see what kind of, different wildlife they can experience, to, our downtown sites where you can do some whitewater activities. But we are really excited to just offer a little bit of something for everyone, and, whether that's fishing and offering better access for anglers to get down and close to the water, or put your kayak in, whatever you might be interested in.
I love it. Well, and I'm one of those kids. I'm one of those Iowa farm kids that grew up just having a creek in their backyard, and going down there and kind of just messing around. And we had a pond where we could fish and swim and jump in, but not everyone has that access. So I think that another thing that this project is doing is allowing for that urban access to the waterways, and again, keeping safety and keeping, quality of life in mind. And I think it's amazing that we're going to be compared to other places like Boise, Idaho, and Columbus, Georgia, and some of these places that we looked at early on in, ICON's research that were really nationwide destinations.
Right.
And now Des Moines Central Iowa has the chance to be, up there in like that top 5.
Right. Yeah. We don't have mountains or oceans here, but we do have some great amenities in our waterways.
But damn it, we have water.
Yeah. And I think we've been, for the last several decades, we've just been disconnected from them. I mean, unless you had those opportunities in your own backyard, a lot of times people don't know how to safely access the waters. So that's what we're trying to do here. And yeah, it's super exciting because I know there was a lot of some field research and visiting other whitewater operations across the country. I've actually had the pleasure of talking to some of those operators over the last year or two as well.
What are they saying about us?
They all are watching us.
What's the hot gossip?
Yeah, no, they say they're watching us, and they're so happy to help us and answer questions we might have, because there's some great amenities across the country, but I don't think anyone's doing it on the regional scale that we are. Yeah. A lot of them have a site or two, a few sites maybe where you can get in and play in the river and do some whitewater kayaking or things like that. But the 150 miles currently, maybe more someday, is like a differentiator for us.
Well, and I think it will be more someday, because I have had the great opportunity to go up to places like is it Manchester, Elkader? Yep. They've had water trails for a long time. And some of these, a lot of Iowa towns are river towns. We've got, the Mississippi, the Missouri, we're kind of bordered there. So I think it makes sense. And we also have that natural resource, right? And of course, we're talking at a time where we've seen some of the most rainfall in a really long stretch of time. We're setting some new records, which is a good and a not so good thing, depending where you're at. But that is a natural resource that Iowa has, and not every state has that ability to kind of activate it the way that you guys are doing. Right. I say we. I think I've been part of the project.
Been a great partner.
We have been a great partner, but I've had kind of an outside, volunteering hand in it for a while, and I do feel close to the project.
I think that's a great point to bring up. It takes a mountain of people to make something like this happen. So we've had so many great supporters, both across the public and private sectors over. Gosh, I think this all started as a dream over a decade ago now, and here we are trying. So I like to describe it as ICON went from the dreaming phase to, a fundraising phase to now we're very much in an implementation phase, and soon we're going to be in an operating phase. So it's really exciting to just kind of see how far it's come over such a long time, and all the people that have helped make it happen.
Well, going back to the sites that you've already opened, I know you guys had a little bit of research that came out recently. That was kind of like a economic impact report. Can you share a little bit about that? If not, I have some stats here too, and we can also link to it in our show notes.
Yeah, that'd be great, just in case people want more. But so the study came out in 2023, and it was based on cell phone ping data from the rec season in 2022. So rec season is from like April to October, and so it collected millions and millions of cell phone ping datas, narrowed it down to basically cell phone ping data that had only been there. If somebody was there, I think it was 10 minutes or more, then they could be considered recreating. So, and then you could also track with that data whether they were local or non-local visitors. Oh, cool. And so that was based on, I should mention too, that was based on 15 active sites that were open at the time already being used. So that's everywhere from, Raccoon River Park in West Des Moines to Birdland and Prospect in Des Moines proper, to Cottonwood up by Saylorville Lake. So there was 15 active sites currently when that study was performed. And I'm going to pull up my notes here quick.
No, do it.
So that basically, I think the economic input that we gathered was about $3.4 million in wages, supporting 110 jobs by about 250,000 visitors over the course of that one recreation
that was
season.
15 sites. This is proposing 80 plus sites, and so that's just kind of that's a big number. Was your team surprised
without
by
the
that?
downtown sites being complete, like the whitewater ones that are really going to be the keystone to all of this. So, yeah, I think it's kind of crazy to think about what might be coming, but it's, this is going to be a way to put Iowa on the map, unlike any other initiative in the past. So it's going to be, it's hard to think that soon you'll be able to surf in downtown Des Moines if you wanted to.
Okay, let's talk about that real fast, because I know that was part of the research. You guys went out, and Rick likes to tell the story, our CEO over at Hubbell. He likes to go, we were out in Boise, and they were watching people surf. And I can't remember if it was October or what time of year it was, but it was kind of an odd time of year to be surfing in Idaho. And the person who came off of the surf wave was from Cedar Rapids.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, yep, moved out here, a couple of years ago. And he thought it was just such an interesting tie back to the state. And he was like, he left Iowa to come out here for whatever reason, but found himself surfing and then crossed paths that way. Mm-hmm. So let's go into, the downtown sites a little bit. Okay. If we want to start with Principal Point, I think that's, sure, probably the one that people are seeing and hearing the most about, just from an activation standpoint. So Can you tell us a little bit about where that's at and how
Sure.
it's going?
Yeah, Principal Point, or Scott Avenue as some people know of it as, is down by the confluence of the Raccoon and Des Moines rivers. So kind of by Mullet's, Single Speed, if you're familiar with the area.
Good location points for me on the breweries there.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think that's a prime example of economic development, right? That hopefully will come with these projects. So, but that one, construction started on that in spring of 2023. It's been under construction since then. With all of these major downtown projects, we've split it out into two basically bid packages. One being the in-river piece, which is a little bit more complicated, a little less, contractors are just generally a little less familiar with that type of work. And then the uplands piece, which is also all of the park-like amenities that you see along the shoreline to allow for access to those in-water pieces. So the in-river piece started in 2023 and has been under construction since then. So if you happen to be down in the area and you see a bunch of sheet pile on the river, that's our project. So currently, unfortunately, it's underwater just from all the heavy rain we've had. Yeah. But before it went underwater earlier this summer, they were really rocking and rolling. So they had about half the river cofferdammed off, which is basically the fence of sheet pile that we put around it so that workers can safely do their work in the river. And so that they were working on the fish passage, which is kind of in the middle third of the river. So that's a big piece of this. All these projects, I guess, is I should start back at the beginning, back up a little bit. Last year, they did the dam mitigation. So we safed the dam. So the dam there at the Scott Avenue Bridge was just not safe for recreators to pass over. So we mitigated that, made it safe for people to recreate over it. We also built on the north half of the river what's called the Cascading Rock feature. So that helps kind of dam the water up and then feed it to the fish passage and recreation passages, which will be on the middle and south third of the river. So that's the pieces that are currently still under construction. Nice. We're going to have 2 whitewater drops there, one of which is going to have a mechanical wave shaper feature, which is this kind of plate that can go up and down and fine tune the wave based on the river flows. I think any Iowan is familiar with the fact that our river flows can fluctuate a lot. Yes. Just the last 2 years is a good example. We went from a drought to now flood conditions. And so that can really be a way to fine tune it for different types of recreation. Surfing, whitewater kayaking,
still fishing.
Fishing, yes.
I mean, that was a huge focus of Scott.
Yes, yeah, that's actually one of the top fishing destinations in the state. Is that site? So we are definitely still allowing anglers to use that space. If anything, we're going to be enhancing opportunities to fish along the shore, so that they're not just confined to using the bridge. So that's a huge piece of this. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we're working on a fish passage there, and so dams have posed an issue to our habitat habitat for many years. We don't have jumping fish species here in the state of Iowa. So we are basically building a ramp for fish to kind of be able to work their way up and over the dam. And so that's going to open up a lot more length of river for them to, find home in.
Oh, yeah, and be able to just go up and downstream a little bit easier.
And that ultimately makes healthier fish habitat too. So,
for sure.
So,
well, I know it looks, if you haven't driven by, down there, it's really cool to see it. It's also a little overwhelming because you're like, okay, where are you going to go? How is it all going to look when it's all said and done? But you guys have had some really nice renderings that you're doing of these sites too. So there's videos out there that we'll put in our show notes that people can click on and then just get a feel for what it's going to look like down the road.
Right.
A rendering is a concept, people, big asterisk, like subject to change a little bit here and there, but
we have the rendering video on our website too, iconwatertrails.com. So
yeah, click on it in our show notes, people. Let's scooch over to one that we just celebrated earlier this summer, the Hubbell Trailhead. We're really, really proud of this site. Obviously, when you guys approached us about, naming and just, bringing forth a little bit more of our support, we were all in about for that project and just to see it come to fruition. So tell us a little bit about Fluor and that site and the Hubbell Trailhead.
Yeah, so we just broke ground on the Hubbell Trailhead, or the Fluor Drive site, as some people know it as.
Yeah.
It's located just north of Gray's Lake, just going to be kind of south of the future Gray Station project that you guys are working on.
Yep.
So this one is on the Raccoon River and addresses mitigating the upstream Des Moines Waterworks Dam. So this is really going to open up basically the entire Raccoon River for habitat and for recreators. So we think it's going to be a really popular place for tubers and, whitewater recreators to come through. They could drop in at the new West Des Moines site and come down this way, or at Waterworks Park. So it's going to be, I think, a really popular stretch of river. We're going to have here, like I mentioned, we're going to have fish passage as well as a recreation passage and a wave feature as well, too. So this one's not going to be quite as intense as the one down at Scott, just because the Raccoon River doesn't have the flows that the Des Moines does.
Right.
But it's still going to, this is the one that I like to tell people is the one that I would probably try, the beginners. I think this is going to be a little less intimidating.
Level, you can go test it out if you haven't been on the water ever or in a while, since you were a creek stomping kid. That is probably where you would go.
Yeah. And I think that's important. We want to have a variety of something for everyone, right? So I think this one would be a really great family-friendly site. Still some excitement and some, fun site to experience.
I think that whole area down there, and we're going to go into Gray Station just a little bit, but that whole Gray's area is going to be so cool in the next, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, because you have Gray Station, which, for those, if you don't know, is Hubbell's 75-acre master plan community. So that's for sale homes. There's apartments. There's we just released some new condos that are going to be for sale, which are really at a great starting, entry level price point. You can get down there and purchase condos for in the 200s all the way up to 400s, but we're going to have some higher end condos come along, and we're getting ready to announce some more apartments as well as we kind of move from east to west in that 75 acres. And one of the first things Hubbell did was build the Coleman Bridge from Gray Station connecting over to Gray's Lake. That was a really important piece of that development. That way people could just easily access all of those bike trails and parks that were just on the other side of the Raccoon. You could see it, not that far, right? But I know the city of Des Moines announced, is it the Rick Newman spray ground? Is that, I think I got the name right?
I think they've started construction on it.
The spray ground at Gray's Lake, and that's kind of revamping that beach area that's just on the other side of the Coleman Bridge. I think that's going to be an awesome component for families and people to use, and it's free, right? That's some of the biggest draw for some of these projects. And then Waterworks Park. I think a lot of people have been utilizing it more with the Lauritzen Amphitheater and all this other stuff that's going on in there from an event perspective. But man, it's bigger than New York Central Park. And again, it's kind of this hidden gem in the middle of our downtown, which is really cool. So I love the fact that Gray Station While, yeah, it's a 10, 15, 20-year project, it's been going on for, a good long while, probably about as long as Icon has. But it's really starting to come together.
Right.
This year, we just broke ground, or we're getting ready to break ground on our community clubhouse, and that's going to have like a little mini amphitheater that we can now host our Gray Summer concert series music series, and we're going to be able to just have more people in the community and have a dedicated space to host them, in addition to all the people that already live there.
Yeah.
So that's going to be steps away from people's back doors. So I'm excited to see some of the like biking, walking, jogging trail people turn into also like kayak canoe rental people. And, we, in almost all of our apartments, we have bike storage. I think it's going to maybe transition over to kayak storage the closer we get to the Hubbell Trailhead. And that was such a fun opening alongside you guys, Polk County Conservation. Just so many partners go into.
Yeah, I mean, with all these projects, they're big undertakings, and it could not happen without partners at the table. So there's been a lot of stakeholders actively engaged along the way, and we're so grateful for all their support in making it happen. So
yeah, that area it's just going to explode, and we didn't even touch on Pro Iowa and the soccer stadium and some of the development that's going to go on around there in the future, and that's an exciting component of it too. Because again, just talk about activation. I know there's some work going on, or people will probably notice some work going on down near the Hubbell Trailhead, which is some tree clearing, being mindful again of habitats and the conservation aspect, but there is a heavy tree clearing that'll probably be going on, through this year. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We have started some tree clearing efforts initially. More to come. We're protecting all of the bat-friendly trees. We've identified those. So
the Indiana, right?
Yes,
the Indiana bat?
Yep.
Okay. Yes. So that is, I think.
Rest assured, we are looking out for all the habitat. So, but tree clearing will be happening soon. We had bids come back earlier this summer. Construction work should start soon, hopefully, once river levels can come down a little bit more and make it safer to access the water side of the levee there. So construction should be starting here this year. We bid this separately, the in-water and the uplands, like I talked about earlier. So the in-water piece, we're anticipating being done by the end of 2026. So that'll open up the Raccoon River Run, we're calling it.
That's crazy, the Raccoon River Run. I love it.
And then the uplands will follow in early 2027. So that'll
that's 2 years. Yeah. That's not that long.
Right. And I think you brought up a great point. Like, this is just really going to activate kind of a untouched, an area of downtown that could use some love, right? And so between all of these developments happening, it's going to just be a really great amenity down there. And one thing I should mention too, Polk County Conservation will be taking over the management of this site when we're done. And so on the wet side of the levee, there's a kind of a forested area, and so that's going to be maintained. Most of that will be maintained. We're only using a small portion of that property for our site amenities, which will include, boat and kayak launches, small parking area, some shade shelters, obviously sidewalks and trail connections and things like that for people to use. But most of it's going to remain untouched. And so I think Polk County Conservation has plans to do like some woodland walkways through there. And so that'll be just a cool experience for people that there really isn't anywhere else in downtown Des Moines to experience that. So.
Yeah. And, I think that'll tie in so nicely because there's already a bike trail, right, that runs along and connects over to the Coleman Bridge and through Gray Station. And if you're on that bike trail, you pass our wetland basin that we kind of restored and reconfigured. That actually takes all 300 acres of downtown Des Moines runoff and then filters it through a series of pools and systems before it releases into the Raccoon, trying to do like a natural filtration system. Yep. And that was, alongside our partners at RDG and CDA and all of the different teams that, have helped us put Gray Station together as a community. But that was a really big deal because previously that water was just going into one big spillway and then going over and really trying to go back to some of that conservation and water quality efforts, trying to make sure that, we're helping the water just get a little bit cleaner before going in.
Yeah. And we've built conservation practices within all of our projects. We're spending millions of dollars.
I was going to say, we probably don't even have enough time to talk about it today. But
and everything from shoreline stabilization to, biocells and wetland to treat runoff. And so ultimately we are hoping to use recreation as a catalyst for striving for improving our water qualities.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it will. I think it's going to be one of those things that over time we'll just see how it all comes together, but it's really exciting. Okay, the last downtown site. Can we talk about Center Street?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. This is probably the big one that if anyone is familiar with Icon has probably seen images of.
Yeah.
This is over, going to be located near the Women of Achievement pedestrian bridge, if you're familiar with it.
Yep.
That one is going to mitigate the Center Street Dam, which, there's been a lot of deaths that have occurred there.
We
It's
all know the
very
iconic photo, right, of the man, hanging and trying to rescue.
Yeah,
And
we know that's a huge safety hazard. So,
Very much so.
that is very much on our radar. That is going to be a huge project in itself, separate from the ones we have underway currently. So that one is probably, I like to say it's probably at least 5 to 10 years out, just because it takes so long to fundraise and design and construct these projects as it is. But we are definitely working towards that. And that'll be kind of the crown jewel for the downtown system. It'll be, because we have such a tall dam there, we're going to be able to have more recreation drops there to make up for the difference. So we're hoping, we don't know exactly what that looks like yet. We got to get into the design further, but we anticipate that being kind of maybe a more longer series of drops or bigger drops. I'm not sure which way we'll go, but that'll be probably like the really high intensity recreation opportunity
so
for
that's
people.
where we're surfing.
Yes, you can surf at Scott too, though.
Okay.
So that one will be coming sooner.
Woo!
Yeah.
My gosh. I just can't imagine. I mean, I can imagine it, but it's hard to imagine, right?
Well, river surfing's really grown in the country. And actually, you mentioned Boise earlier. Talking with that operator within about a year ago or so, he told me, don't underestimate the surfing community. They will come. Like, in his experience, they have whitewater kayaking and surfing, but he's like, surfing is just so much more accessible to people. Like, it's easier to just throw a surfboard in a car, not necessarily deal with the logistics of, kayaks and loading that and all that. So I think it'll be crazy to think about, but I think we'll start to see a surfing community here in Des Moines area.
And then maybe the Cedar Rapids man will come back.
Yeah, maybe.
To surf
maybe
here.
that would be a prime example of retaining workforce.
And that's what I was going to say. That kind of goes into one of your pillars and your core focuses is that workforce attraction and retention. Obviously, on Hubbell's side, that is one of the key drivers. That was one of the main reasons that we knew that this project was exciting to us as we look at our aging workforce, especially in the skilled trades where you're talking, plumbers, HVAC, electricians. Yeah. We don't want people to leave our state. We also have an aging state. We have a high population of, those 55, 65 plus generations. And so I am excited to see how this draws people back in addition to retaining them and saying, this is where I'm going to stay.
Right. Yeah. People are looking for those quality of life initiatives. And I think they're even, since COVID with, a lot of people do have the flexibility to work remote anymore. Yeah. They can pick where they want to live. And so I think those quality of life initiatives, I know for me personally, those are the types of things that I look for when I choose where to live. So.
Oh, absolutely. If I can't get outside,
yes.
I mean, embrace the seasonality, right? That is Iowa. I straightened my hair for the first time
Me too.
In a very long time today. I'm like,
it's not humid out.
The humidity's like below 50 or 60%. I might be able to get away with this. We'll see how long it lasts today. But what other sites are you really excited about that are coming up? And, I don't want to overshadow these quote unquote smaller sites because I know that we have jurisdictions in cities like Johnston and Beaver Creek who are well ahead of the game. But these smaller sites are really what are in people's backyards.
Right.
That are just a hop and a skip away and are already up and running. So what are some of those other smaller sites that you're excited about?
Yeah, well, I mean, completing the downtown circuit too, I should mention our other sites. So the 3 that we've talked about so far are the ones that are going to have the in-water features, but we are doing improvements to our Harriet Street access point, Birdland, and Prospect Parks as well. So those are going to be just enhanced amenities, enhanced access, enhanced shoreline stabilization, water quality improvements, those types of things. So we have those projects that we're working towards completion on as well. But then regionally, Johnston Johnston's doing a great job. They broke ground earlier this year on their Merle Hay access point, and that's their final one. They already have 2 access points on Beaver Creek. I actually paddled Beaver Creek earlier this spring for the first time myself.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing experience. I mean, to me, it seemed more like a river, not a creek. I grew up around creeks. So
Yeah.
I think the flows were pretty good then, but it was you didn't even feel like you were in Des Moines. It was such an intimate, there's just a lot of tree cover, and it just was a great experience. So I think once Johnston gets that access point done, that's going to just Beaver Creek alone is going to offer great opportunities for people to recreate.
I'm pretty sure that the Merle Hay access is the one that I volunteered at during your first Iconic Fest, Iconic River Fest.
Riverfest, yep.
I volunteered there, and we picked up along. I believe that's where we were.
Yes, yep,
yeah,
probably.
And it really was coming along, and it does feel secluded with all of those trees. And
yes,
that was cool to see it kind of in the works.
Yeah, and I know Urbandale has a site coming online here soon too. They built kind of an outdoor classroom area.
Oh, cool.
And they have some artwork that they're getting installed now, and then I think they're going to be opening any day now. So
we might have to go visit that, because we're working on a little bit of that too down at Gray Station.
Oh, yeah.
Just with the wetland basins, that's going to be a perfect place for a lot of, DMPS to come down and just say, okay, let's study the different species, let's study the different plants and native habitat. And so we're looking at doing that alongside of some artwork
awesome.
too.
Yeah, and that's another way to engage people with waters, right? Yeah. Artwork is another thing I should mention too.
I wasn't going to let you pass over it.
We're trying to kind of encourage all of our jurisdictions to include artwork if possible at these access points, and we're planning for some at our downtown sites too. So that'll just be, even if recreating on the water isn't your thing, it's going to offer something for people to go experience if art is their thing. So
yeah, what are a few other small sites that we should know about?
Like I mentioned earlier, West Des Moines and Polk County Conservation opened up the 63rd Street Bridge access point. So that's kind of one of the first on the Raccoon. I think the next one upstream is in Van Meter.
Nice.
From there. So that one is going to be a great
You're getting closer to me.
Yeah, getting great launching point for downtown. So that one we're really excited about as well.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah,
there's so many. There's so many sites and so many different things that are just going to be connected by water.
Yeah.
Soon.
And I mean, one thing I should mention too is you think about what the bike trail system has done to our state.
Yeah.
We're hoping to do the same with water trails. And there's actually this, I think it's called the pedal paddle.
The pedal. That's hard for me to say.
Pedal paddle.
Paddle.
Our dream would be to have people do both, right? You kayak downstream, and then you have your bike there ready to take you. You can put your kayak in a locker downstream and take your bike back to your car at the top. So I think that there's the communities kind of go hand in hand.
Oh, absolutely. And these are getting designated as state water trails. I mean, can you kind of go into how maybe some of the state designation plays into it, and just this is not just a little one-off project here or there. This is really a concerted, large effort and lift by the region,
right?
To enhance just the state's visibility.
Right. And, the state of Iowa has water trails all across the state currently that are designated. The state just designated Beaver Creek. That was actually the event that I was out paddling on Beaver Creek for, was to celebrate the designation for that water trail. And so, it really just helps open up additional safety features too. Once it's DNR state designated, you can get additional signage, additional promotion. There's maps created to help people navigate through the system. So we work very closely with the DNR on this. And we are anticipating closer to the time of the Hubbell Trailhead project being complete to designate that section of the Raccoon as well. So,
exciting.
Yeah, that'll be super exciting.
Oh, I love it. I just think there's so many pieces and parts of this project that people can relate to. Mm-hmm. That's what makes me very excited about it. It's easy for me to say yes, recreation, yes. For me, it's the quality, it's the conservation side of it. For Hubbell, I know that it is that as well, but also that workforce piece plays such a big part for employers who have, dedicated resources to this project as well. But it's very exciting to see so many different backgrounds coming together for one concerted effort.
Yes.
Because really,
that's truly amazing.
You've got agriculture, you've got state, you've got cities, you've got counties. private, public.
Right.
A little bit of everyone.
It takes everyone to get something like this accomplished. And so that's probably my favorite part of my job as project manager for ICON, and is just working with all the stakeholders. You know, there's just a lot of different people that have to have a seat at the table to make something like this happen. So.
Yeah. Well, and you want them to have a seat at that table. Mm-hmm. I love that. What do people need to know, looking out at, fall and winter of this year, but also how can people support and get involved in ICON?
Yeah, no, great question. So this winter we should have active construction, assuming that we're not flooded still, on both the Principal Point and Hubbell Trailhead projects. We'll continue to see construction too at some of our regional sites like the Merle Hay project, like I mentioned earlier. And so I think just ways to get involved is, one, use the water trails safely and check us out. ICON. Check us out on our social media, on our website. We have a newsletter that comes out monthly you can sign up for. So there's just different ways to keep tabs on what we're up to. I should say down at Principal Point and soon at Hubbell Trailhead too, we'll have construction cameras that we have linked on our website too. So
we can see it, just live check in a little bit.
If you don't want to physically drive down there, and it's a tool for us to be able to see what's going on, construction wise, but it's also really cool for the public to be able to see it.
That is cool.
And we're maybe we'll leave them up permanently too, so then you can see what the waves are like when it's done and before you make the trek down there. We're not sure yet how that will work, but just lots of ways to get engaged. You mentioned Riverfest earlier too. That was so Iconic Riverfest was our first, this last year in June was our inaugural event for that.
Yes,
we're hoping to make that an annual event going forward.
You guys had there was 150 people there.
Yes, we had over about 150 volunteers that signed up and cleaned up water trails.
And I don't remember. Do you remember how much trash that pulled out of there? It was a staggering number. Yeah. I just remember I was like, really, we only were, it was kind of a half-day volunteer opportunity, which I appreciate. Mm-hmm. Here and there, and you guys split us up at all these different sites, and I was over in Merle Hay, Beaver Creek area, and our team alone came out with, trash bags full. So stop littering if you can, people. No, you can. And it was just really cool to see that kind of all come together. Yeah. So I think that was a great inaugural event. Yeah, I'm excited to do it again next year.
Yeah, it was, for the first year, having so many volunteers, so many, corporate partners step up and help make the event happen financially. Yeah. Also just, it was a regional cleanup event. We had 11 sites that we all started and ended at Burnland Marina, and checked people in, and then everyone dispersed to their site. And it could have been trash cleanup, but we also had invasive species cleanup and just park improvements, whatever those communities needed, really. So it was really a cool event, and we're hoping to make that an annual event going forward.
Absolutely. Well, and you have a great event later this fall too, as well, right?
Yeah, our annual Wild Prairie Showdown.
Yes, it's so much fun. Yeah. I'm excited to see what you guys do this year. You're always bringing new added elements to it, so I'm very excited to see who is, is it Team Icon and Team Great Outdoors? Is that how it goes? And then you always Formal flannel. Yep. Until 2 years ago, I didn't know what the hell that was, but I have embraced it.
I know. I have a lot of plaid dresses in my closet.
I saw something on sale the other day, and I was like, I know exactly where I'm wearing this. So it may be in my cart right now.
Yeah.
But that is, again, to raise, awareness and funds and
Yeah, that event is October 16th this year.
October 16th. Well, we'll put a link. We'll make sure.
Sorry, I'm going off memory. I don't have my calendar in front of me. But in October of this year, it's a great event. So we sell tickets, and I think tickets will be coming online here soon. And you can, formal flannel, fashion show competition. It's a lot of fun.
I love that. Well, and if people want to learn more about ICON in general, yes, I'll link to all your socials. And the newsletter is a great way because as you heard over the last, these 40 minutes flew by with you, but there's a lot going on. And your newsletter does a very good job of keeping people informed about the volunteer opportunities, but what you might see. Yes, there are some trees coming down, but those are invasive species, or those are not, critical to the site. a lot of information is packed in that newsletter and on the website as well. So I encourage everyone to go out and check
we also
that
try
out.
to promote events happening locally too within our
Absolutely,
partner
yeah.
jurisdiction. So if you live in Clive and Clive has an event coming up too, we try to put those types of things in our newsletter as well. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anything else people should know? This is a long-term project. I mean, it started about a decade ago, but we've got a decade to go.
Yeah.
So Icon Water Trails is very much full speed ahead, which is so exciting. We're so proud to play a small role, especially with the Hubbell Trailhead underway and opening in 26 and 27. I think that's so exciting.
No, we're just so grateful for partners that make it happen like Hubbell. And I guess one little tidbit I should share too is once we get the Center Street project done, I mentioned earlier, the economic impact studies that we've had done to date are slating us to be the second most visited whitewater attraction in the country. So it just blows my mind to think about that, but that's just so exciting. So
that's absolutely amazing to think that we could be that level of recreational destination.
Yep.
Up there with some others who have probably held the spots for a very long time. That's a kudos to you and your team as well for, that's a lot of logistics. That's a lot of collaboration and planning and research and all the things that go on behind the scenes that people don't get to see. I know you are a small but mighty team.
Yes.
And
in the end of the day, we are still a nonprofit,
Yes, please remember that. That is a good note to make of why the support is so critical.
Yes.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. And
thanks
again,
for having
there's a
us.
lot
This
of
is
things
great.
we're going to link to in the show notes for this one, because between Icon and the ways to get involved in the upcoming events. And I do want people to check out Gray Station because it is the closest place that you could live to one of these, whitewater attractions. And I just think the trailhead is going to be such a cool spot that if you can walk there and just, jump on a tube or a kayak or take your, surfboard, it's going to be a fantastic opportunity for everyone. So I was the next top nation destination. That's all I heard.
Who would have thought? But here we go.
Here we are. Here we go. I love it. Thanks, Monica. I appreciate
thank you, Claire.
Dig It, a real estate podcast by Hubbell Realty Company, is produced by Amplify Des Moines. Check us out wherever you get your podcast. Find us on YouTube at Hubbell Realty. Check us out on our website at hubbellrealty.com. And of course, like, subscribe, follow, and share across all social media platforms.